Luke, thank you so much for jumping on the AIM podcast.
Happy to be here, bro.
This is going to be a fun episode, man. We've been trying to link for a little bit now, but I'm really excited to have you on and to dive into some cool stuff.
Yeah, likewise, man. I'm excited.
I got to know though, bro. I saw yesterday on your story, man. You were not attempting. You completed the backflip, but is that a new trick you're working on? What's up with the back?
uh, oh, that is actually a really good question. I was talking to a couple fellow athletes of mine over there. So I'm in Cookeville, Tennessee now at CrossFit Mayhem. And some of the athletes and I were having a conversation about, typical mindset conversations, right? Like if you fear something or you feel uncomfortable doing something, to attack it and go do that so that you can, break through those mental barriers. And one of them was a backflip for me. When I was a kid, man, I don't know how, but when I was a kid, I think I attempted double backflips on the trampoline with my friends. Like I was kind of crazy in the trampoline as a kid, but man, as I've gotten older, certain things I'm like, nah, I don't really want to do that. I'm kind of scared of that. I don't want to break my neck, you know? And then yeah, I've been just trying to get comfortable again with body awareness. And yeah, I'm trying to get good at doing a back tuck. So that's what you saw in my story. I can do it now without a spot, but it's still kind of ugly, trying to get my form down now, but I make
Now,
it happen.
this is outside of the training program, so like this is not programmed by Rich.
No, no, Rich would tell me not to do that, but
Yeah.
you know how it is.
I was about to say I played college basketball. I mean, played basketball my whole life. Graduated in 2021, but like, dude, I always wanted to do cool stuff like that, but was always super scared to because I was like, man, if I get hurt, like,
Yeah,
obviously it's so cool to do a backflip, but I can't risk it, and so I was always very scared to try.
exactly. Honestly, I will say this as far as like the culture at Mayhem, especially with my buddy Rich. Like, dude, one thing is paying attention watching Rich is he's very fearless. Like anything we do, like if we happen to go on a trip to an army base and go skydiving, or if we're going on a 24-hour mountain bike race and it's super technical, like drop-offs or something, Rich just sends it and he doesn't even think twice about that kind of stuff. And I think that's super important, honestly, for anybody doing anything, whether it's fitness or not. Like you just can't think about, well, what if I fail? You just got to send it, honestly. And that culture has been pretty cool to be around because I mean, you can hold yourself back if you think, oh, well, what if this, what if that. So I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool to be around.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up because like obviously you have a really cool opportunity and a relationship to be with him a lot and to train with him and to work with him, and but even from an outsider looking in, like I see that too and the way that he carries himself. And do you think that's more of like a mindset thing, or do you think that's because he's so physically fit that he feels more confident to just do crazy stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's also a very deep question because personally, I would say faith,
Yeah,
like knowing God's got him no matter what, right? Like
sure.
he's such a faith guy in that aspect of, being fearless and his confidence being in the Lord, but also the dude's just got gifted. He's a good old country boy that has just freak genes of athleticism, balance, like you name it, coordination. Like I'm telling you, like this, he's a freak athlete. Like, you know what I mean? You don't, it's not often where you just take a friend, wakeboarding and he hasn't done it, but maybe a once in his life and it's been years and all of a sudden he sticks a backflip. You know what I mean? Like he's that kind of just athlete that's like, all right, I'm gonna go send it. And it's that fearless mentality that for sure makes him, who he is, right? A champion. Or like just sending it whenever he does. So I don't know. That's kind of what I was getting into of the mindset, right? The mentality, that kind of culture that's being built, which is cool to be around, right? Because I want to be that way. It's kind of like the conversation we brought up earlier about something as simple as me goofing off on my Instagram story doing a backflip. Like
Sure.
I don't want to have to be able to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be at a point in my life where I don't fear anything, even if I'm not, good at it. And I can just put myself out there and just, go for it. Right. But also keeping in mind being smart and safe.
Yeah.
Extent, right? We don't want to cross too many lines.
Yeah, no, I think you can find a good balance there. But that is cool how you bring up your faith. Obviously, that's 100% one of the things I wanted to cover today in this episode is because I look up to you in a lot of ways in the way that you've proclaimed your faith publicly in a lot of different seasons of your life, whether it be on reality TV or in your athletic career. And I'd love to kind of start there with this conversation about like setting the foundation of why you do that. I think it's important to talk about, and how have you seen that be such an important piece of everything you've done between all the different chapters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just to give you like a quick blanket statement of why I do that, it's pretty simple for me. Is it's my foundation, right? So if we're talking, getting me through extreme ups and downs on reality TV, like being in extremely high pressure situations, or playing college baseball or even high school football back in the day. Now, like you said, what am I doing now? CrossFit, trying to be a games athlete, being in any situation, but really the day-to-day life, right? In business, trying to be the best version of myself, all these things. The foundational why of why I do all of it is all of my faith, right? It's all to glorify God. Really realizing that God gave me the opportunities, like he created me. He's all knowing, all powerful, like he's God. He created everything. He created me. He gave me a way to have perfect relationship with him through Jesus. And like, that's what fuels me. Getting to know him and wanting him to be known is what fuels me. But it's so cool because, in the Bible talks about like Jesus came to serve, not to be served. So that instantly makes my mindset change to want to be about others, right? Why do I even want to have my Instagram, for example? So that I can help other people be the best versions of themselves, like I'm on the same mission to do for myself, and express to them that through my mindset, maybe just showing my family my progress, me falling down and getting back up again type of thing. And I bring the Instagram thing up because, man, like when I went on reality TV, man, I wanted to delete my Instagram, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I was so over any of that life, and I just didn't realize the kind of gift that was given to me and handed in my lap, especially with like a following, right, in the platform. But like my motto has always been like faithful over famous. So like, why would I ever want to be famous? But at the same time, like if I had an opportunity to be famous, or people look at me or listen to my story or have influence, I'd want that to be able to share my heart and my passion, which for sure is Jesus. But like, I want to help people be the best versions of themselves, and that's my mission, so kind of went on a quick rant there, but I
No,
hope that answers your question as far as like why I do those things or why my faith is the foundation.
yeah, no, that's so good, bro. And I love that. And I think I feel like you carry yourself with a humble confidence that's obviously grounded in the Lord, that it's cool to see that, because I think some people as Christians, and I don't want to generalize or stereotype, but I do think there are some people that deal with this directly. They want to believe and they want to have faith, but they also want to be reserved and they don't want to be put in tough situations. And sometimes maybe they don't want to have more opportunities where, there's going to be, with bigger opportunities, typically more challenge and adversity. And so maybe there's a fear there. And I think that's something you've done a good job of taking head on, of like, man, God's blessed me with this opportunity to be on this TV show, or God's blessed me with this opportunity to be around some incredible athletes and perform on a platform. How can I leverage that to glorify him and to put the light back on him? And I think that's something you've done a good job of taking head on. And I'd love to hear you speak on, how you've been able to navigate that, while there's probably been pressures and challenges that have also come into the mix as you've taken on those platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up a good point. And that's where my mind's going. So I'm going to start there.
Yeah.
Loaded question. So you're going to have to bear with me. I kind of unpack certain
Go for
aspects of it. So one is you talking about I guess growth in platform, and that the more people the bigger influence that you have, the more challenges you have.
100%.
Is what I'm bringing up and attacking first. And it's the truth. And I didn't realize that let me use reality TV as an example. Me being in a spotlight, like 0 to 100 real quick, right? Sure. All of a sudden, like not used to anything, like 1,000 followers on Instagram, not like really a social media guy, post once every 6 months, till all of a sudden, boom, I'm on a TV show with millions and millions and millions watching. And it instantly, when something like that happens, your maturity, one as a man, knowing who you are, what you believe in, instantly is exposed. And your maturity to be able to handle pressurized situations is immediately exposed.
Sure.
Everything, really, your whole entire life is just exposed. And your maturity level is going to be very clear very quickly when you experience some of those situations on TV. And I was, like I said, very exposed. Yeah, far from perfect for sure, like everybody. I'll
Sure.
admit that first-handed. I don't want to get too much into the show and the details, but my situation was a very unique situation, right? This is not coming from me, but from other people. Like within 20 years of the show of being in existence, I've been told that people thought I had the worst edit on there.
Wow.
Even people like behind the scenes and stuff. Regardless of any of that, any of the details, let's talk more about me, what I learned from it, right? I learned a lot as a man, grew a lot in my faith, and learned little things about myself that you watching the show you would never know about me. Let me give you one example, right? So like I know everybody deals with insecurities to some degree. Everyone deals with it in their life, and they may look different for different people. And one for me was fear of man. There's some people use it in different phrases. So some people say being self-conscious, fear of man, being self-conscious, or an easier way to put it is simple, like worrying too much about what other people think of you to the point where it becomes toxic in your life, where what you truly believe in doesn't match up with what comes out of your mouth and your actions.
Sure.
Right. And I dealt with that on the show. And that's kind of tough, right? When you're being broadcast in front of millions and millions of people, and you're being put in these pressurized situations, and it's like, wow, what I believe in and what like my convictions, I'm not actually even saying those all the time or even doing them as far as actions. And certain situations that came out from just reflecting of my time on the show, and then getting off the show, wrestling really God, my faith, wondering why like I was put in certain situations, and never lost my faith. Like I've always had full faith that God has the perfect plan and his timing is perfect, all those things, right? And
Sure.
then growing through that was huge for me. And then in that time of my life, and I think that whole experience of reality TV 3 years ago now, it's crazy to think about. It really grew me to be able to handle those types of situations. But as far as fitness goes and all of those things, like, my background is being a baseball player, college baseball player, right? And I actually struggled back in the day with finding my identity in myself and my performance in baseball. If I make it to the big leagues, all these things that don't matter, like materialistic things too, right? Like, what shoes am I wearing, or who am I hanging out with? Things that don't matter, right?
Yeah.
And then growing through my faith in college and realizing my identities in the Lord and in God, and growing through that space in my life and being ready. And then all of a sudden going on a show thinking, oh, I'm ready. And then realizing, oh, wait, I still have a whole lot of maturity to go through, like light years of maturity.
Yeah.
That really helped me and set me up for success and being able to, I guess the point of me bringing I'm going to hone it all in here, is this is what everyone needs to be able to have, is the ability to be put in any situation, right? High pressured, you name it, whatever it is, but to be able to speak the language and the words they use that comes out of their mouth, be truly lined up with their core values and what they believe in, right? Like truly what they believe in, like what actions, like if I'm hanging around a group of people, or meet some other people, what actions am I going to take, right? How am I going to act? What personality is going to come out in me? Is it lined up with what I believe in? Because if it's not, then I'm fake and I'm a liar. And it might be because I might have some insecurities or things or issues I'm dealing with. And that was huge for me, is being able to navigate that. And no matter what situation I'm in, latch on to what I believe in, my values, truly like my convictions as a man, convictions, right? Or ambition, you name it, you use the word, right? So ambition, like the goal in mind, what's the purpose and reason for me wanting to achieve that, right? If I truly latch on to those things and be able to, what comes out of my mouth and my actions line up with what I believe in. And like that right there, if people can figure that out, that's everything. And it took me a while to figure that out. And it took all those experiences I just walked you through to be able to gain that. And I'm not perfect about it, but still to know that, I think that's huge.
Dude, that's so good. And I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think that's going to help a ton of people. And I can relate to what you said, dude. Like even before, I came to Christ, like my identity was certainly in things of this world, whether it be basketball or myself, or like kind of like similar to what you said, like worrying about almost to what other people think of you and how you can position yourself in the eyes of others. And I think
Right.
it's tough because you can get a quick high, you can get a quick burst of like adrenaline or something feels good in this world. But at the end of the day, like when your foundation is not set on and grounded on the Lord and what he's done in us, like it's hard to truly be fulfilled. And I think to your point too, like 100% we're not perfect. We're human beings, we're sinners, everyone is. But I do believe when you put your foundation on God, like you can get through tougher times knowing that there's something you're going towards that's better and bigger than yourself. And I think that's what's been good for me. And it sounds like you've been able to kind of lean in on that as well to get through some of those higher pressured situations.
Absolutely. For sure.
That's good. I want to talk about community too, because I think this plays a big role in everything that you've just spoken about. And you can take this, you can give me any example you want here, but I'm sure the community at Mayhem is pretty strong. But how important has the people you surrounded yourself with been to your overall faith and how you've been able to continue to grow and to mature?
Yeah. Yeah, community, I agree, is everything. Habits, growing out of bad habits, growing out of maybe things, maybe I don't know, things that you've picked up on from other people, maybe even be your close family and friends, teachers, coaches, bosses, anything, right? There's always habits that you're going to pick up from people that are negative. It's the truth. And one thing, I know you've had him on your podcast, Michael Chernow. He's big on habits, right?
Yeah.
And the way to replace a bad habit is with a good habit. And that directly goes into the people you spend your time with.
Yeah.
And if you have a culture in mind, right? Like you have a goal, right? Whatever it may be, fitness, family, relationships, job, business, whatever. If you have a goal and you know people that live the culture that embodies what you want to achieve, like why wouldn't you want to spend your time with them? Right.
Yeah.
Like if we talk about, I don't want to call it cheesy, but because it is true, but these like sayings, these mindset sayings, right? Like the 5 people you spend the most of your time with, you're going to end up like those people. Yeah, that is kind of true. Not totally true, but I mean, the concept is true, right? If I spend a lot of time with you, for example, so if I'm spending a lot of time with Doug, you might say some things or act some certain ways in certain situations, and I'm going to start picking up on it and acting that way.
Sure.
And if you have the mentality and mindset of the man that I want to be in the future, or have good habits that maybe I want to adopt, then yeah, I want to spend time with you. You know what I mean? And that's community in a nutshell, as far as like mindset goes. And I won't go so far down that road, but I think it's everything, right? Like if you want to achieve something, you need to be around the culture of those people that are doing it, right? They're actually got boots on the ground and they're marching up that hill that you want to be on top of. But to go even deeper than that is the accountability. And that's something that I've been blessed with. Like my older brother, so I have an older brother, he's 2.5 years older than me. His name's Mike. And dude, he's been like my entire life, like through middle school, high school, college, being a young adult, now being an adult. Like it's been the biggest blessing because he's been through so much. I mean, like do you have any siblings?
I do. Yeah. I have a younger brother. He's 5 years younger.
Okay. So yeah, I feel like I'm talking to my older brother talking to you now.
I'm Mike.
Yeah. So like you've gotten him through so much, right? Like he's gotten to learn from your mistakes and the good things that you've done, where he gets to go repeat these things. But I think the biggest piece, and I don't want to get off track here, is the accountability piece is what I'm really trying to hone in on. Is having someone that understands you. And it's the same thing I talked about, right? The ability to say and act directly in line with what you believe in. If you have someone that knows you and knows what you believe in, knows your worth, knows your values, knows your purpose, knows what you want to achieve, and that accountability piece is everything, right? Someone that can know you to the point where they can push you to be and achieve what you know you're made for.
That's so good. Yeah. you brought that up, and I'd actually love to ask you about that. Like, in your experiences, how have you seen accountability be successful? And there's a lot of, people are always saying hold people accountable. As a leader, as a captain on a sports team, you're like, you got to hold guys accountable. How have you seen accountability play out successfully? Because there's a lot of ways to go about it. And I think there's a proper way to do it where you can be efficient and effective and not hurt or harm the relationship. So how have you seen it work out in the best way?
Well said, right? Some people have thick skin, some people don't.
Sure.
Let's just call it like
Yeah.
it is.
Seriously.
Black and white, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm someone that personally has the capability of handling it, not as gentle as most people.
Yeah.
So my brother knows that. So my brother's very harsh on me. He can, like, if he said certain things that he says to me to other people, they might go hide in a hole and cry, But that's just me. And I have matured in the last several years in knowing and just experiencing, right, relationships with other people when maybe I need to hold a younger, older friend, close brother, right, friend, that I want to hold them accountable, but I know how to be tasteful with my words, precise, like you said. I think you used the word efficient, but right, sometimes you gotta be gentle.
Yeah.
But also you gotta be firm and like stand up and bold, because people should know if you love them, you're gonna be straightforward with them. And being straightforward and hearing the truth doesn't always taste good, doesn't always feel good, but you need it. And I think it's just communication, right? If we're talking relationships, what's the direct thing about relationships, right? Communication. Or a relationship will, right, choke out. It's not going to survive. So I think if you talk through things, communicate, I think there's always a experience for both parties, right? To understand, well, what's the best way to go about this? Because obviously you don't want to be too harsh and, start making people feel bad and all of that. But then again, like, you got to work through those things together. Did you want examples? Because you asked
No, I mean, I think you set it up nicely. And I think even to take it a step further, like what I've seen at least, and obviously I'm just trying to figure this out. Cause I mean, I think the same way you can hold someone accountable in a friend relationship, you can do it in business or in fitness or whatever that looks like. I think getting to know the person as well as possible obviously helps. I think building some sort of like fostering trust in the relationship, I think is very beneficial for accountability. And so it's like, I think there's things that we can do in order to really take it as far as we can go. And I think, again, it comes back to, as a Christian, being grounded in our faith, like loving first and kind of expressing that love, and then being like, look, this is coming from a place of care, not as a place of judgment or a place of like I hate you, like I want you to be better. And like I truly wanted to be conveyed that way. So I think there's a lot of cool ways to go about that.
Yeah. So let me just add to a few things you said, because I thought they're beautiful. Like, one thing you added was relationship, right? Like, I want to be close to that person before, like, kind of have miles with that person before I hold them accountable. And like, I won't really hold anybody accountable unless I have those miles with that person or that close relationship, and I know what they want to accomplish, right? But even if I don't know someone, I might bring up kind of like things we talked about earlier, like, well, what do you believe in? What's your purpose? What's your ambition? Like, what's the goal that you want to achieve, right? Let's talk about it. Are you doing the things to achieve that? And that's a simple conversation I'm having with someone, but yet I'm holding them accountable, right? Something simple. Like, if you have a goal, let's say there's a target. Let's use archery as an example. And I'm aiming. Well, what are you aiming at? You know what I mean? You got to be precise about what you're aiming at. And do you have a sight, right? Like, are you clear about what you're aiming at? And if not, then how are you going to ever hit the target, right? So it's those kind of conversations I would have with people for sure. And it's like you said, when you know the person, it's easier to have those conversations. And the faith piece, like, yeah, I'm going to love those people, have grace for them, even when they're falling flat on their face or not even coming close to something. But at the same time, when you love someone deeply, you're going to be very harsh with them, very straightforward, because of the passion and love you have for them. You're going to really just let them have it, right? Like, we're talking, life or death here.
Yeah.
You want to achieve something, it should be life or death. Like, that's how bad you want it,
Yeah, that's good, dude. I love that. And it's cool because obviously, it seems like you guys have fostered some great relationships in Mayhem, and I would love to kind of dive into that. as we keep going through this conversation. I've heard on a couple different podcasts the story of how you kind of got set up with him and meeting Rich and his wife at the game. So you don't have to necessarily go super deep into that unless you want to give like a quick overview. But I would like to talk about what was so attractive about him and what he's built with Mayhem that drew you into wanting to pursue a potential relationship and opportunity with that group.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Really quickly, I'm going to address my attraction. I'm a dude playing college baseball, thinking I'm going to make it to the big leagues, right?
Where did you play? Where did you play again?
Played 2 years of junior college baseball in Central Florida.
Sweet.
At Polk State College.
Nice.
Winter Haven, Florida. And then I played 1 year of Division I baseball at a smaller school in the Big South Conference called High Point University, North Carolina. And then things didn't work out with certain things there. So I wanted to transfer. Couldn't transfer to another D1, went NAIA, never even heard of it. But man, the baseball was incredible. Went to they were Faulkner University. We were #1 in the country at the time. And that was a neat experience. Got together, World Series and all that. But anyway, like being in college, truly invested in like the craft, being the best version of myself, best baseball player I can be, all these things, right? Honestly, kind of very similar to CrossFit. Like I was grinding, right? Hundreds and hundreds of swings in the cages. My hands are bleeding. Bringing my boys, right? My teammates to the gym, aside from what our coaches are putting us through, us doing like running, speed agility training drills, like all this stuff, sports specific training, right? The grind, right? And I remember seeing Rich on YouTube, TV, even Netflix, I think. I mean, I'm trying to think actually. I think right when I was a freshman, I think that was when CrossFit was on ESPN. So I'm even watching the games on ESPN. I'm seeing this dude like looking like Leonidas out there. You know what I mean? My man's got Galatians 6:14 tattooed on his side. Far be it from me to boast in anything except for the cross of my Lord Jesus, right? And like the point of that verse is pretty much in a nutshell saying, hey, I know where my strength comes from. It's not me. I'm not going to boast in myself. I'm boasting in the source of my strength, right? God. And I'm seeing that visually and I'm like, hold up, who is this guy? And he's winning and he's doing it in a humble way, in a savage way. The crowd is just taking over for this guy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a Cinderella story when you're watching it. And I'm like, man, like watch all the YouTube videos. This dude's slaying fitness. He's faith, good old country boy. It's just big faith guy. So I'm like, all right, I want to look into this. Then I look into it. I'm like, no way you can do some form of squatting and be healthy. Like those dudes are going to get injured and not make it. Right? I'm uneducated. All my teammates, right? I'm in baseball like hell week, right? Right before our season. And we have CrossFit days where we push sleds and flip tires and stuff. And I would always be on the teams that were winning, and all the guys that got picked teams and stuff would always pick me because I'm just going savage mode out there with my boys. And you can imagine like some of the pitchers and stuff, they don't want to lift and flip tires, but the guys are animals too. And they always would tell me, hey, you need to try CrossFit. And I'm like, man, what's CrossFit? So to tell you about the attraction, like I had a huge attraction just from Rich's influence as a young faith guy who's trying to be a professional athlete, right? For me, it was baseball. Mm-hmm. And then that's what got me into the attraction, right? So let me speed up the story. I don't want to get long-winded here. Read his book. He was a firefighter, saw the influence he had and the growth that he had as a man, got married to Hillary, loved their adoption story. So neither of them, like them together, they couldn't have children. They adopted 3 kids, which is crazy because their kids are so beautiful and they look like they're their own. And it's like, they are their own. And it's just, that whole story is beautiful. Fell in love with that story. So I'm a huge fan, right? Just love the dude, respect him, what he's about. So, my sister, I get out of a serious relationship, signs me up for TV. I'm going really fast through this. Around the same time, I graduated college and I'm kind of heartbroken, whatever. All of a sudden get a phone call. I'm like, who's this? I'm thinking it's a prank call from LA. They want me to go on TV, speed up the process. I went on the show, right? passing out roses, all the craziness. I get off the show, right? I'm growing as a man, right? We kind of covered some of that stuff earlier. And then, I'm invested in CrossFit. So I'm like 6 months into CrossFit, 2019. It's my first year doing it. I'm friends with Travis Mayer, Noah Olson, because I'm a training think tank athlete in North Georgia.
Nice.
So I want to go to the games and watch. Long story short, I post them there. Hillary gets tagged in something, Rich's wife.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big fan of the show. She has like watch parties with her girls. I didn't know that. So she gets tagged. So I'm like, I'm gonna send her a DM, right? Like, it's the wife of, I'm a fan of them. I love their family. So shoot her DM. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan. Like, all these emojis. I'm freaking out. It's my brother and I spectating for the first time in 2019 games. So I'm like, bro, we gotta go meet these people. Like, this is the dream, bro, So we go, I'm just being honest here. So we go and we meet him. It was cool. Rich was like, oh, there's some guy from TV that my wife's a fan of. Okay. Nice to meet you, man. Let's take a picture, No, I'm joking, but that was what his mentality was going into it. For real, that's the truth. But it was cool. I got to hang out and meet him, and then long story short, Hillary was kind of fangirling me. I was fangirling her husband. But it was neat because it was such a God thing. So games are over. I'm on the way home, and on my layover is Brian Nelson. He's now my roommate, kind of, sort of. He owns the house I live in Cookeville. He's the CFO of Mayhem. He's been doing Rich's finances for over 10 years. Solid faith guy. He and Rich created Mayhem Missions.
That's awesome.
And we talked Jesus, talked fitness, talked all things life, connected. He invites me to help with some nonprofit stuff. This is kind of like right before Mayhem Mission got launched, and I helped out. Got to meet Rich and Hillary because they're on like the mission board for his organization at the time that ended up becoming the nonprofit called Mayhem Mission. Long story short, I got to connect with Rich behind the scenes. He was like, oh, this isn't just some, loony from TV. This dude's actually a good dude. So like we hung out, whatever. That was how the relationship got started. So you asked, that was how it got started.
Very cool.
I'm super thankful for, how the dots got connected. And yeah, now, it's been a blessing. I've been, at Mayhem for 2 years, and I can call Rich not just like a friend, like he's almost like, I would say, even my best friend. Like I love him. He's a brother. The accountability pieces that we're talking about, the kind of relationships we were talking about earlier, like I have that with him. And it's just been, like I said, it's been incredible. Because he's the kind of guy that like lives out and has the culture of the man I want to be in with my future family, like business, just the way I do things in life. Right. So yeah, I'm trying to think, what was the other part of your
awesome. No, I mean, you hit on it. Like those are obviously very attractive qualities. I think as a young athlete, seeing someone that's not only accumulated that much success professionally, but also done it in a way that's, glorified God and been so humble and for other people. I think it's very rare to see that. So, I mean, I can imagine why you would be attracted to that kind of culture.
For sure.
I would love to hear so you make that transition, you get this opportunity, you go to Cookeville. Talk to me about kind of like the early days there, the adjustment. I would love to hear maybe like a humble.
Dude, I'm so glad you bring this up, bro.
Yeah,
this fires me up, bro.
I want to know what that was like. So I'm sure there were growing pains. I'm sure there was learnings. Like,
growing pains. My man. Okay, so mentally, I got to be honest. Okay, so like I start CrossFit in 2019. I just find out that like I'm gonna completely give up baseball, right? Because when I hung up my cleats, I was kind of on the fence of like, do I make a comeback? Do I go out to some of these camps, see if I could get like a free agency or whatever?
Sure.
Because I didn't get drafted, and yeah, opportunities to play independent ball, whatever. That was done. So I find CrossFit, all the stages I tell you, I go to the games, I spectate the first time, meet Rich, all this. And I'm still honestly deciding. I'm not truly all into CrossFit yet. I'm like, yeah, I think I could be good at this. I kind of have the body type. I have the mentality, I believe, like I could be good at this. But man, all my friends that are pros have been doing it for almost double-digit years, right? Like 8 to 12 years of doing the same things. And I'm like, man, I'm a year and a half in. I don't know, man. Like that's a big commitment. That's like saying, I don't know, I might go to med school and have to study for 8 to 10 years. Like, excuse me, you're going to make that commitment? That's kind of crazy, but I respect the people that do it. My cousin just did it. Like, he's about to be a doctor. He's in his last year. He's in his literally 10th year studying. Like, you know what I mean? That's insane. But anyway, I don't not to get sidetracked. Let me hone it back in here. But yeah, man, hold on. Where was I going with that? Bear with me. Sorry.
You got past.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, the day one days. So, man, I'll be honest with you, brother. Being there, moving to Cookeville, yeah, it's the dream. But the first like 2 weeks, I contemplated quitting every day. Like I knew going there, I'm gonna get my fair share of humble pie, which anyone who's good at anything knows humble pie is good for the soul.
No doubt.
It's good for the growth, right? And yeah, I got really good at getting back up because I got knocked down every day. And I was I guess the point of me setting all that up when I was getting long-winded was I was trying to explain my mindset. So I knew it would take probably 6 months to a year to find out if I was comfortable enough to think that I had what it took to be what I wanted to be in CrossFit. Because I don't want to be one of these guys personally that, is in the sport forever and just doesn't really make it. Like, I'm going to do it. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all in.
Sure.
And I'm going to make it, And at the time I was like, well, I'm 6 months. Oh, at the time I was like 4 months in. And I'm like, wow, I've survived to this point. I've got so much better. I'm committing. And that was when I tied some conversations with Rich, because I even told him, I was like, look, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, but I want to see if I have what it takes. And like, I had those kind of conversations with him, and then I made up my mind that I'm committed. And dude, I'm telling you, when I say, like, when I joke around and laugh when you said birth pains, like, dude, I'm talking like waking up some mornings thinking like my knees swollen and there's no way I'll be able to squat anything. And I'm hitting like 99% on my back squat and front squat, like doing 6 workouts in a day. When I was at Think Tank, I'm used to doing 1.5 and accessory work. And like everything I would do in a week, I'm doing in 2 days of training or 1 day of training. Like the kind of the volume, the intensity, like everything, dude. I've literally contemplated quitting almost every day. But I kept fighting and getting back up because, that's anything in life, right? Nothing's easy that's worth getting. So
that's facts.
The birth pains were real.
That's super facts. I love that you say that. Was there, I'm sure you have a lot. I'm sure it's a hard question, but was there like one particular story or moment that you're like, I will never forget this? Like, this was crazy, of just like getting there and just like trying to get into the groove of the culture and the workouts. And you're like, dude, what is going on right now?
There's that happen every day, bro. So I think it's cool. Just certain little things that stick out to me are like, I guess my progress, like how far I've come.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I mean, like giving you examples of like, so when I was at Train Think Tank, and I'm not hating on Train Think Tank. Train Think Tank's an awesome program. Like, coaches there are great. But like to that point in my life, the most handstand walking I've ever done in my life was like 200 feet. Like that was a lot for me.
That's a lot.
One workout, yeah, 200 feet. And then my first day ever doing a handstand walk workout, we did 1,000 feet of handstand walking. 1,000 feet. And then let me add this too.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Every 50 feet had 2 obstacles that you had to walk over. And then it had 1,000 feet for the whole workout. So not only did I like 5X anything I've ever done in my life, but when I was at Think Tank, I would only get out the ramp to like play with it, to try and get over it, not like do it in a workout under fatigue. And now I have to do 1,000 feet and I'm doing 50 feet of an obstacle. That's just giving you an example, because you ask, well, hey, is there anything that sticks out to you? And I jokingly say like, oh, every day. And I'm being serious. Every day there was something to that extent. Like that's one example of a list that I was just like, I remember my first few months, I'm watching him right on the whiteboard. And I'm like, and I look around, Haley's like nodding her head, putting her tape on. And she's like, heck yeah, that's what I wanted to see. And she's getting warmed up. And I'm like,
holy crap.
Exactly.
Dude, so, that is hilarious.
Yeah, dude, that's one example of many, but yeah.
All right, so no, I want to hear about that. So the programming. So how does that work? So how do you guys, do you know what's going on, or like you get to the gym that day and he starts pulling out the whiteboard? Like how are you able to prepare for that, or like what does that look like?
Yeah, man. I mean, the last like every season's been different, right? Because like he just won his 10th gold, and now like we don't really know what he's going to do this next season. We know he's going to train with us and he's going to do the same whiteboard stuff, but like we don't know how much. And anyway, long story short, let me just dive into your question these last couple seasons, and it's been a beautiful thing, right? Because I've personally only been in CrossFit where I'm super structured. I'm emailing back and forth with the coach. I know exactly I have to do a week in advance. Yeah, Rich just strolls up, walks in his front yard, gets in the barn, hangs out. His kids are running around like crazy. Dogs are running around like crazy, taking his time, moving his body around, stretching. You know, how do I feel today? What do I maybe want to do today? All right, let me check my football stats. Oh man, all right, nice. Oh, send a few texts. Oh, all right, let me walk over to the whiteboard. Huh, what do I feel like doing today? Oh, well, we did this yesterday. Oh, let's do something like this. And then all of a sudden, he's mastermind programmer, just wrote like the perfect thing that our bodies need on that day. Sometimes it's super savage, sometimes it's just kind of savage, you know what I mean? But dude's a mastermind when it comes to knowing, because he's got more experience than all of us combined with workouts he's done and experience on the floor as far as competition goes. But yeah, he goes by feel. And like if you look back, and it's kind of neat, right? Like if you look back at all the greats in every sport, like all the dudes that were the best did what they did on their own. Yeah, they had coaches, they had people guiding them and helping them for sure. Like everyone needs a tribe, right? A team that helps you, achieve your goals. But at the same time, like those dudes did it like pretty much by themselves, in the sense of like paving their path when it comes to programming or the structure of what they did, right? Or they went by feel, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like if they maybe had a plan to do this, but something's messing with them, they're going to change and do this.
Yeah.
So that's been really neat. Sometimes he'll plan stuff ahead, but really for the most part, man, like he just strolls up, no clue, no stress, no care. And then he's like, all right, I think we should do this. And every now and then he'll ask questions. He'll be like, yo, Doug, what are you thinking? What movements you want to do? And then if you wanted to do handstand push-ups, he'll just go write it on there. Or maybe you want to work on rope climbs. All right, well, the 5th workout we're going to do today, I'll write those in. You know what I mean? So like it's been cool to see him be like that. And as the years and months, I guess, have gone on, I feel like depending on what we've done previously in the week, I can't like totally guess what he's going to do.
You have a feel for it.
Not nearly as much as like rep scheme and maybe time domains, or is it intervals, or is it all the way through, stuff like that. I can't really guess what he's going to do, but I sometimes can. And sometimes I can guess the exact movements, because I'll be like, all right, well, all these have been checked off the list. We haven't done GHDs or, maybe rope climbs or squats in a while. So like, I bet we're going to do some kind of squat in this workout, or thruster or something. And sure enough, like wall balls come and GHDs. And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of saw that coming,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. Yeah, I was curious about that, because I was like, dude, this guy's a freak. He's obviously done it, been successful, seen everything, knows the game, knows the body. Like, how does he program for the athletes? What does a normal day look like for you? Like a normal training day during the week, from sun up to sundown? Like, how do you kind of structure your day, or does it change?
Yeah, no, that's good. In the season, it's pretty much the same every day. Unless it's like, so most CrossFitters and most CrossFit camps, if you will, right? I guess coaches too, do Monday, normal training, Tuesday, normal training, Wednesday. So Monday through Wednesday, those 3 days are normal. And Thursdays for some athletes are off, or as people call it, active recovery. Might do a little something. So kind of like a rest-ish day. And then Friday, Saturday are full training days, and then Sundays rest. Here it's very similar, except Thursdays aren't really an off or rest day, not like active recovery. It's more like, let's get outside training days, or maybe we swim on those days, or we do something like that. Or maybe we go mountain biking for an hour. But everyone's really going hard. Some people, I mean, you gotta know your body, right? Like some days I might need to go like zone 2 pace. I need to actually recover and flush my legs, which is actually going to help me recover more than if I just sit on the couch all day and watch Netflix, And then Sundays are always rest days. But like sometimes in the season, like they're kind of just like pump sesh days, let's bro sesh with the boys, which is really just like accessory work because yeah, like you don't really curl in CrossFit, right? But like curls have some benefit or like strict pull-ups and stuff like that kind of stuff, push-ups, dumbbell bench, like that stuff does have benefit and it could show up in the sport, but it's more like accessory slash like foundational work. And we'll
Sure.
do some of that kind of stuff or like maybe a barefoot run or something on Sundays, but nothing too crazy. Usually just rest days. But let me get into a specific sun up to sundown normal training day. In the season, you wake up, get to the gym, barn, wherever, right? Warm up for about an hour. Foam roll, lacrosse ball, dig into things, TRX bands, right? Like get the shoulders all lubed up, ready, hips, knees, to like anything that you have any issues. We have a solid hour, sometimes even 90 minutes to slowly move in, warm up, maybe
Wow.
get a little cardio in, yeah, different movements, get ready to get moving. And then do a Metcon. What does that look like? It could be an hour of high intensity intervals where it's like 1-to-1 rest. It could be 1 20-minute all the way through workout. Every day is different, but it's usually one workout that's like, get the juices flowing. And then we usually lift after that. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. Sometimes it's closer to 90 minutes of some kind of barbell lifting. It might be today we might just do back squats, front squats, and then maybe end with like a few deadlifts or something, but something along those lines, maybe Olympic lifting. And then when we're done with that, we do another Metcon or intervals. The time domains may vary. It might be a 5-minute burner and that's all you do. And then eat lunch, rest, come back, and then usually 2 more workouts, depending on the time of the year. It could be 3 more workouts, or it could be no more workouts in like zone 2 and accessory work or stretching, but depending on the year, like, are we close to the games? Then yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more Metcons. But if it's like leading up to semifinals, well, what have we done the days before? How beat up are we, kind of thing. So it's not, I know it's funny. Like most people look at Rich's programming, like, oh my gosh, this dude does so much volume, but it's actually kind of funny because like he's matured so much as a man and learned so much that like him as a coach slash athlete, like he doesn't do the super crazy volume, not nearly as much as he did when he was an individual anymore. Like he actually has like toned it down a lot compared to what he's used to.
Wow.
And yeah, which is crazy because someone like me, I'm like, what do you mean? Like you used to do more than this? Like I'd have rhabdo and my arms would fall off. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's been cool to see as well. Is like, even since I've been here, I've even seen him. I don't want to say mature, but just like, I guess it's a good word, like grow
Sure.
in like those areas, like even more so than. And I know that like, I wish I would have been friends with him in like 2011, right? 2009, just to see how far he's come. Because like I can already tell, like since I've been here, like he's come, like he continues to improve, right? Just like we all do in life, right? Which if we're not growing, then we're dying, right? So come
That's
on.
facts. Very cool, bro. Yeah, I was super interested in that because I was like, man, I would love to hear. We obviously we talked a little bit before. We've been blessed to have a handful of really successful CrossFit athletes on the show, but I
Love it.
wanted to hear someone we haven't talked to anyone who's trained like kind of with and under Rich and at Mayhem. But that's super cool, man. And I really appreciate you coming on today. This has been
Yeah, dude.
super fun. And
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm like I said before, I'm just super encouraged and honestly inspired by the way you're doing what you're doing. And so I just want to encourage you to keep going because there's a lot of people you're helping and it's super fun to see it, dude. I hope you crush it and keep winning, dude.
Come on. I love that, bro. Hey, likewise, same to you, man. I mean, everything we're doing, right? We're striving to be our best, and hopefully that light sheds on others as well. So, because that's what we want for everyone around us.
That's facts.
So you keep crushing as well, man.
Let's go. Thank you so much for coming on the pod, man. This has been fun.
Thanks, bro.